At 78, Margaret thought she was making the smart choice. Her children had been worried about her living alone, especially after her small fall in the kitchen. The nursing home brochure showed smiling faces, beautiful gardens, and promised dignified care in a loving environment. But 6 months later, Margaret sat in her small room, staring at the wall, wondering how she had lost herself so completely. What she discovered inside those walls wasn't just different from what she expected, it was heartbreaking. And the most devastating part, once you're in, getting out isn't as simple as walking through the front door. If you or someone you love is considering a nursing home, this video might be the most important 10 minutes you'll ever spend. Because what I'm about to share with you are 6 harsh realities that nobody talks about, truths that could change everything about how you approach this life-altering decision. Welcome to Eldvise, where we explore the realities of aging with honesty and wisdom. I'm here to share the stories and lessons that matter most, and today's topic is one that affects millions of families but is rarely discussed openly. Stay with me until the end, because some of these revelations might completely change your perspective on nursing home care. When we think about nursing homes, we often imagine what the marketing materials show us: happy residents playing bingo, beautiful dining rooms, and caring staff members. But the reality is far more complex and often heartbreaking than these carefully curated images suggest. The truth is that life in a nursing home fundamentally changes who you are, not just where you live, but how you live, what you value, and even how you see yourself. The 6 lessons I'm about to share come from real experiences, from residents who have lived this reality, from families who have watched loved ones navigate this transition, and from caregivers who have witnessed the profound changes that occur when someone moves from independence to institutional care. These aren't just observations, they're warnings. Because once you understand what really happens when someone enters a nursing home, you'll never look at this decision the same way again. Lesson 1: your identity disappears faster than you think. The first shock isn't the unfamiliar room or the institutional smell. It's the sudden realization that you're no longer yourself. You're now the resident in room 237, or the lady who needs help with her medications. Before entering a nursing home, you were Martha, the retired teacher who loved gardening and made the best apple pie in the neighborhood. You were Robert, the mechanic who could fix anything and told stories that made everyone laugh. But inside these walls, those identities begin to fade. It starts subtly. You're no longer asked about your professional background or your hobbies. Instead, conversations revolve around your medical conditions, your dietary restrictions, and your care plan. The staff, overwhelmed with dozens of residents, don't have time to learn about your life before this place. They see symptoms to manage, not stories to honor. One former resident, James, was a World War II veteran who had served in 3 major battles. At home, neighbors would stop by to hear his stories, and he took pride in his service. But in the nursing home, he became just another elderly man with hearing problems and arthritis. His medals sat in a drawer, his stories untold. Within months, he stopped talking about the war altogether. When asked why, he simply said, "Nobody here cares about who I used to be." This loss of identity creates a domino effect. When you're no longer seen as the person you've always been, you start to forget who that person was. Your confidence erodes, your sense of purpose diminishes, and slowly, you begin to see yourself through the same lens that others see you, as someone who needs to be cared for, rather than someone who has lived a full and meaningful life. Lesson 2: the invisible prison of institutional schedules. Freedom isn't just about being able to leave, it's about controlling the rhythm of your own life. In a nursing home, that rhythm is no longer yours to conduct. Imagine waking up not when your body is ready, but when the breakfast cart arrives. Picture wanting to take a quiet walk in the garden at sunset, but being told it's not safe without supervision, and supervision isn't available until tomorrow. Think about craving a simple cup of tea at 10 p.m., only to discover that the kitchen closed hours ago and won't reopen until 6 a.m. These aren't dramatic restrictions, they're the thousand small freedoms that make life feel like living. But in a nursing home, these freedoms become privileges, granted or withheld based on staffing levels, safety protocols, and institutional policies. Elena, a former librarian, loved to read late into the night. At home, she would often stay up until 2 a.m., lost in a good book. But the nursing home's lights-out policy meant her reading time was limited to daylight hours. When she asked for a small reading lamp, she was told it was a fire hazard. When she requested to move to a different room with better natural light, she was told the room assignments were based on care needs, not personal preferences. The schedule becomes your master, and resistance is futile. You learn to eat when food is served, sleep when lights go out, and socialize when activities are planned. Your body's natural rhythms, developed over decades of life, are suddenly irrelevant. You're living someone else's life in your own body. Lesson 3: the slow erosion of physical capability. One of the cruelest ironies of nursing home life is that the very environment designed to keep you safe often accelerates your physical decline. When everything is done for you, your body forgets how to do for itself. At home, you might have walked to the mailbox, climbed stairs to your bedroom, or stood in the kitchen to prepare meals. These weren't exercises, they were life. But in a nursing home, meals are brought to you, elevators replace stairs, and walking is often discouraged without supervision. The result is devastating. Muscles that took decades to build can atrophy in months. Balance that was once steady becomes shaky. Confidence in your physical abilities, once taken for granted, crumbles. Dorothy was 79 when she entered the nursing home after a minor hip surgery. She had been walking 3 miles every morning for 15 years, but the nursing home's policy required her to use a wheelchair for the first month as a precaution. By the time she was cleared to walk again, her legs had grown weak and her balance had deteriorated. The 3-mile walks became shuffles to the bathroom. Within 6 months, she was using a walker. Within a year, she rarely left her room. This isn't neglect, it's the natural result of an environment that prioritizes safety over independence. But what's safe in the short term can be devastating in the long term. The body you don't use becomes a body you can't use. Lesson 4: the economics of entrapment. Here's a financial reality that few people discuss. Nursing homes are expensive, and the longer you stay, the harder it becomes to afford to leave. The average cost of nursing home care in the United States exceeds $100,000 per year. For most families, this represents a catastrophic expense that quickly depletes life savings. But here's the trap. Once you've spent your savings on nursing home care, you no longer have the financial resources to return to independent living. Your house may have been sold to pay for care. Your savings may be exhausted. Your monthly income may not be sufficient to cover the costs of independent living, especially if you now need additional care services. Richard and his wife had saved diligently for retirement. They owned their home outright and had a comfortable nest egg. But when Richard's wife developed dementia, the family decided that a nursing home was the safest option. The monthly fees were steep, but they convinced themselves it was temporary, just until they could figure out a better solution. 3 years later, their savings were gone, their house had been sold, and Richard's wife's condition had deteriorated to the point where she required skilled nursing care. Even if they wanted to explore alternatives, they no longer had the financial means to do so. The nursing home had become their only option, not by choice, but by economic necessity. This financial entrapment is one of the most overlooked aspects of nursing home care. What begins as a temporary solution often becomes a permanent sentence, not because it's the best choice, but because it becomes the only affordable choice. Lesson 5: the loneliness that no amount of care can cure. Nursing homes promise companionship, but they can't guarantee connection. Being surrounded by people doesn't protect you from loneliness. Sometimes it makes it worse. In a nursing home, you're surrounded by staff who are caring but busy, and other residents who are dealing with their own struggles. The deep, meaningful relationships that sustained you throughout your life, with family, friends, and community, become harder to maintain. Geography is part of it, but time is the bigger factor. When you're no longer part of the daily rhythm of your family's life, you become easier to forget. Not intentionally, but practically. Your children have jobs, your grandchildren have school, and your friends have their own health challenges. The visits that seemed so important at first become occasional, then rare, then reserved for holidays and special occasions. Mary had been the heart of her family for 60 years. Her kitchen was the gathering place for Sunday dinners, holiday celebrations, and spontaneous visits. But in the nursing home, she became a destination rather than a daily presence. The weekly visits became monthly, then became calls, then became cards on birthdays and holidays. The loneliness isn't just about missing people, it's about missing purpose. When you're no longer needed by the people you love, when your role in their lives becomes that of someone to be visited rather than someone to be consulted, you begin to feel like a burden rather than a blessing. Lesson 6. The illusion of temporary solutions. Perhaps the most dangerous misconception about nursing homes is that they're temporary. Families often make this decision thinking they can try it for a while and see how it goes. But nursing homes are designed for one direction of travel, in, not out. The longer you stay, the more obstacles to leaving accumulate. Your physical condition may decline, making independent living more challenging. Your financial resources may be depleted, making alternatives unaffordable. Your home may be sold, eliminating the option of returning. Your family may become accustomed to your absence, making reintegration into their daily lives more difficult. Most importantly, you may begin to doubt your own ability to live independently. The confidence that once made you feel capable of handling life's challenges erodes when every decision is made for you, every need is anticipated, and every risk is eliminated. Frank moved into a nursing home after his wife died, thinking he just needed some time to grieve and figure out his next steps. He kept his apartment, planning to return once he felt ready. But 6 months turned into a year, and the year turned into 2. His apartment lease expired, his belongings were put in storage, and gradually, the nursing home became his only home. When asked why he never left, Frank struggled to explain. "I kept thinking I would," he said, "but after a while, it seemed too hard to start over. I wasn't sure I could do it anymore." The nursing home industry markets itself around safety, and for good reason. Safety is what families are looking for when they make this difficult decision. But safety comes at a cost that extends far beyond the monthly fees. The cost is autonomy. The cost is dignity. The cost is the gradual erosion of everything that made you who you are. You become safer, but you also become smaller, a diminished version of yourself, protected but not empowered. This isn't to say that nursing homes are inherently evil or that the people who work in them don't care. Many nursing home staff members are dedicated, compassionate individuals who genuinely want to help. But they're working within a system that prioritizes safety and efficiency over individuality and independence. The question isn't whether nursing homes can provide safety. They can. The question is whether the price of that safety is worth paying, and whether there are alternatives that might provide both safety and dignity. Before making the decision to enter a nursing home, it's crucial to explore all available alternatives. These might include in-home care services that allow you to remain in your own environment while receiving the assistance you need. Adult day programs that provide social interaction and supervision during the day while allowing you to sleep in your own bed at night. Assisted living facilities that offer more independence than nursing homes while still providing support for daily activities. Some families are exploring innovative approaches like granny pods, small, self-contained units that can be placed on a family member's property, allowing for independence while keeping loved ones close. Others are investigating co-housing arrangements where seniors live in their own homes but share common spaces and support systems. The key is to explore these options before a crisis occurs. Too often, the nursing home decision is made in the aftermath of a fall, a hospitalization, or a medical emergency, when emotions are high and time is short. But with planning and research, families can often find solutions that provide safety without sacrificing autonomy. If you're facing this decision, either for yourself or a loved one, here are the crucial questions to ask. Have you explored all available alternatives? Are you making this decision out of genuine necessity or out of fear? What specific care needs must be addressed? And are there ways to address them without institutional care? What are the long-term financial implications? And are there resources available to help make alternatives affordable? Most importantly, have you involved the person who will be most affected by this decision in the planning process? Too often, families make nursing home decisions for their loved ones without fully including them in the conversation. This well-intentioned approach can lead to resentment, depression, and a sense of betrayal that makes the transition even more difficult. The reality of nursing home life is complex and often heartbreaking, but it's also preventable in many cases. With proper planning, family support, and community resources, many people can age in place or find alternative arrangements that preserve their dignity and autonomy while addressing their care needs. This doesn't mean ignoring the realities of aging or pretending that independence is always possible. Sometimes, nursing home care is truly necessary and can be the most compassionate choice available. But it should be a last resort, not a first option, and it should be chosen with full understanding of what it means. The 6 lessons we've explored today aren't meant to terrify you, they're meant to inform you. Because when you understand the true cost of nursing home care, you're better equipped to make decisions that honor both safety and dignity, both care and autonomy. Your life, your identity, your freedom, these are precious gifts that shouldn't be surrendered lightly. They're worth fighting for, worth planning for, and worth preserving for as long as possible. The choice is yours, but make it with your eyes wide open. Because once you understand the heartbreaking truth about life in a nursing home, you'll never look at aging the same way again. Thank you for joining me on Eldvise today. If this video has opened your eyes to new possibilities or helped you think differently about this crucial decision, please like and subscribe. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences and insights help build a community of wisdom that benefits us all. Remember, aging is inevitable, but how we age is a choice. Make yours wisely.